on the field. The pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beatsis is singing Fight, Balls, Fight. The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Week 2 is in the books of college football. I'm going to go back and take a look at some of the scores. I thought it was pretty fun after week 1. So many emotional responses week in and week out. Florida goes and beats Utah in week 1. Florida's a team that everybody was talking about. Tennessee needs to beat. Tennessee's got more talent. They're going to take them down this year. It's time to turn the corner. Then they go out and beat Utah, who was ranked in the top 10 at the time. And the emotional responses all of a sudden shift. Everybody's terrified of Florida. Anthony Richardson making all kinds of plays with his feet. Now, week 2, we kind of flipped the script. We're going to talk about it, break down scores around the SEC. I don't know if this is something you guys want me to do every week. Leave me a comment, let me know. I just thought it would be a fun little video. Before we get going, as always, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you are new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are fans just like you, for the fans, by the fans. We're not trying to pretend to be special or know more than you. We're just on here hanging out, talking a little college football with you guys. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Don't forget, Tuesday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time is our fan call-in show. Should be a good time. Let's jump in and take a look at scores around the SEC. We'll start here with Alabama. Barely escaping an upset from Texas. A lot of us were, we were on the tailgate show getting ready to watch Tennessee and Pittsburgh, and we were watching this game all together live on air, and we knew how it was going to shake out. We knew how it was going to end, the way the story was unfolding. It's just battered Vol syndrome bleeds over to Alabama, to Florida, to Georgia. We're used to it. We are used to teams like Alabama surviving a scare like this. But again, a lot of people, the emotional response from Tennessee fans, everybody now sees Alabama as beatable after one little scare on the road from Texas. But you do look at that football game. Alabama did not play typical Nick Saban football. They played undisciplined football. They had 15 penalties for 100 yards, and that doesn't include the penalties that weren't called, because, my goodness, the Alabama defensive backs all over Texas all day long, grabbing their shoulder pads, pulling them down, grabbing their arms, arriving early. Nothing ever called, but, again, typical Alabama survives a scare against Texas in week 2. We can kind of go on down this South Carolina-Arkansas game. Arkansas once again takes care of business, 44-30 over the Gamecocks. A lot of people not really scared about Spencer Rattler. A lot of people not scared after week 1. I think he had a couple of interceptions. And look, South Carolina didn't look that great against Arkansas. Spencer Rattler still threw for almost 400 yards, added a touchdown. But Arkansas is a good football team, good on the line of scrimmage, particularly what Sam Pittman is doing with that football team is impressive. No surprise there that they take care of business. What do you think? Does your opinion really sway one way or the other? After week 1, kind of starting to think maybe that South Carolina game's not as much of a toss-up as I thought. Still think they can be pretty good. We'll see how Spencer Rattler develops over the coming weeks. And that's the thing about South Carolina. We're going to know more by the time that game comes around. But as of right now, Spencer Rattler doesn't look phenomenal. But again, threw for almost 400 yards. So what does that say? But again, Sam Pittman doing good things with Arkansas. I'm glad, we were kind of talking about this on a live stream recently. I'm glad Tennessee doesn't play Arkansas this season. So Sam Pittman can go have himself a cold beer and enjoy another victory. Vanderbilt showing who they are, gets dominated by Wake Forest. No surprise there. A lot of people, again, the emotional reactions going back to week 0. Vanderbilt goes and beats an absolutely horrible Hawaii team, and everybody thinks, oh no. Oh, this Vanderbilt team's for real. Boogie, they're going to be really good. No, they're not. Vanderbilt's terrible. They're going to continue to be terrible. Wake Forest puts a beating on them this week. Missouri beat by Kansas State. Missouri's not a good football team. Tennessee Pitt, we broke that down multiple times already. Big win going on the road to get a win over Pittsburgh is huge, just big, even though, we've talked about it to death, sloppy on both sides, but Tennessee goes and takes care of business. Jimbo Fisher down at Texas A&M with the big loss to App State. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. And again, with this one, this is almost the opposite of the Alabama ordeal. You expect Alabama to hold on and get that win just because you're used to it. Well, you might as well go ahead and expect Jimbo Fisher is going to choke at some point during the season in App State with the big upset. And look, it doesn't get easier for Jimbo Fisher. And how high are the expectations down there in College Station? What do they expect from Jimbo Fisher when you put these big-time recruiting classes together? You got all the money in the world pumping into NIL down there at Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher can yell and scream and pretend that they don't pay players, but we all know that they are paying players and putting together the number one recruiting class, and he sits there and denies it, and him and Nick Saban going back and forth, both lying through their teeth, absolutely ridiculous, both pretending that they don't pay players. Nick Saban pretending that he hasn't been paying players for years prior to it being even a thing. Before NIL was legal, Nick Saban's been paying players, giving players cars. We're not stupid. We all know it. But how patient is the Texas A&M fan base when Jimbo Fisher continues to underperform? And the upset from App State should be absolutely devastating to this program. Then you look at their schedule moving forward. It's not going to get easy for old Jimbo as they go and play Miami next week. Miami ranked 13th right now. That's going to be a tough game for the Aggies. You've also got Arkansas coming up on September the 24th. Again, I love what Sam Pittman is doing with that Arkansas team. Good football team. Then you're going to go on the road 3 straight weeks at Mississippi State, at Alabama, out at South Carolina. You've got Ole Miss at home, Florida at home, on the road to play Auburn. And then you've got a little break there with UMass, and then you've got LSU coming up in November. But just an absolutely brutal schedule for Texas A&M coming up after dropping the game to App State in week 2. We move on down here. Georgia doing what Georgia does. They take care of business. This is the big game that we need to talk about and take a look at. Kentucky takes care of business against Florida. And again, the emotional reaction of fans. And I'm the same way, guys. I am the same way. I saw that Florida team go and play Utah. And you can hit the comment sections and say what people say all the time. Well, Utah's overrated. Utah sucks. It doesn't mean anything. Utah may be overrated. Utah may not have been a 7th ranked team, but they were still a pretty good football team. And I know they had their hands full coming to the swamp. The weather, we saw the kids puking all over the field. It is what it is. But the bottom line is Anthony Richardson went out and looked dominant in that game against Utah. The plays he made with his feet. And we all know the game plan is to stack the box, make him beat you with his arm. But Florida looked pretty good in week 1. So week 2, Kentucky comes out and beats Florida. Now, what does that tell you? Is Florida not very good? Because that's some of the emotional responses I see from fans. See, Boogie, told you. I told you Florida wasn't that good. We're going to take care of business. We're going to beat the Gators. Is that the case? Or is the case really just that Kentucky and Florida are both pretty good football teams? And Tennessee's got to find a way to take care of both of those. Those are 2 really big games. When I sit back 2 weeks into the season and look at the grand scheme of things, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Florida, all 3 pretty even in this race for the SEC East of who's going to finish behind Georgia. That's the way I see it. But it's a big win for Kentucky, 26-16. And the big thing is you go look at Anthony Richardson. You go look at his stats in this game compared to the Utah game. 14 of 35, 143 yards. They forced him to throw 2 interceptions. And again, that's the blueprint. That's the blueprint to beating Florida. If you can force Richardson to have to use his arm, force him into making mistakes. And how did they do that? Well, rushing the football, 6 attempts for 4 yards. His longest rushing attempt of the day was 4 yards. So Kentucky's defense did a good job controlling Anthony Richardson, and that's the key. That is the key to beating Florida. But can Tennessee do that? Can Tennessee control Anthony Richardson? Can they keep him in the pocket, stay in their rushing lanes, not let him escape and make plays with his feet, force him to beat you with his arm? That is the question. But that's the emotional responses to week 1. Again, the big one, Kentucky, Florida. Man, I think that's just 3 even football teams when you look at those 2 compared to Tennessee. Alabama escapes as usual. What do you think about that? What do you think about Spencer Rattler? Not impressed but he threw for almost 400 yards and a touchdown against a pretty good Arkansas defense. But that's the wrap up for week 2. Hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. As always, make sure you guys do destroy that thumbs up. Smash that thumbs up. Press that little thumbs up just below the video. I would appreciate it. Hit that on the way out the door and go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' Vols Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' Vols. Any and all support, greatly appreciated. Appreciate all the new members of the channel. You can also become a member of the channel for as little as 99 cents a month. Hit that join button down below. You can join the channel. You get access to custom Talkin' Vols emojis. Different tiers get different perks. You can be part of the fan call-in show. Again, that'll be tomorrow, Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.